welcome to the Winds of Jupiter weekly tarot reading. Now I'll be doing a 3-card reading first, and then I'll be doing a combination card and astrology dice reading second. Now the astrology dice represent the zodiac signs, the planets are lunar nodes, and the houses. And the 3 cards aren't in any particular order like past, present, and future. And you receive the Page of Cups, the 8 of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. Gosh, there's so many things I want to say. I hope I can get it out right. Now, I just did a recent Eclipses reading, and you received the Wheel of Fortune there, too, as well. I remembered that, so I went back and looked, and you received the 9 of Swords instead of the 8 of Swords. And you received the Strength card instead of the Page of Cups. Other than receiving the Strength card, which actually is your card, the Page of Cups is a little bit more minor in the court cards. But there's so many things going on now that's working up towards this eclipse. Now this reading starts July 24th, for the week of July 24th, but on July 23rd there was a new moon in your sign, Leo. On August 21st, there's a new moon total solar eclipse in your sign again. So this is a prelude working up to the big shebang of the eclipse, the releasing, the new beginnings. So now the sun's going into Leo on the 22nd, and you have the North Node in your sign with Mercury working off it. So it's telling you that there's going to be some words of truth connected to your destiny in life, your purpose. Now in the eclipse reading, you were at high anxiety, staying up at night, worrying about things. And here in this reading, you have the 8 of Swords, seeing that you're shackled, or your mind. This is swords, this is air and words, and mind, and intellect. And your mind saying that you're ensnared in some type of labyrinth and you can't get out of it. You're not looking at the blinding light of the sun because you have a blindfold on. And the sun is your sign. Now you can escape at any time, but you're not allowing yourself. You're choosing not to escape. You're not taking control of your life. This card is about saying bad excuses are worse than none. You have some kind of problems, but you're not taking care of them. This all boils down to having personal fears and misgivings that are rendering you helpless and hopeless. Even a cornered animal will claw their way out of a confinement or choose to die. And now it's time for you to make some choices. Now the number 8 in itself represents authority and strength, just like the card you got during the eclipse reading. Maybe you should go back and take a look at that reading if you've watched it, or if you haven't, go check it out. Now the number 8 too can be about power and discipline, and this is something that you have to conjure up. It has the ability to transmute energy. But here I think what's going on here is that the number 8 can be about cycles and repetitiveness. And I think that's where you got stuck. You're stuck in a loop, a computer data loop. Just keep going around and around. This is all about struggling against opposing forces and actually struggling against change. It's time to release yourself from bondage because you've been unhappy, unstable, depressed, insecure. And this might be from some type of controlling relationship, illicit affair, some type of destructive habit that you have. And that could be just about anything. Anything that interferes with your normal life is a destructive habit. Anything excessive is a destructive habit. Swords aren't typically about emotions, but this definitely is about emotions. Something is holding you back, and it's in your imagination, or it's holding your imagination in fear. And over there on the left of the Eight of Swords, you have the Page of Cups. And this is about earthly emotions. And it can be about relationships. But the Page of Cups is a dreamer. And he's a messenger. And he's a heralder of news. And he can even bring in invitations for social events. But he's about the heart and intuition, sixth sense, spiritual awareness. He goes into other dimensions and fantasy land if you're not careful. And I think that's where the Eight of Swords is coming in with this. Somewhere between fantasy land and imagination has you in bondage. Now the Page can bring harmony into the deal, or he can bring unrequited love and depression involved in this. Disappointment. His emotions are all over the graph. And that's connected to the Eight of Swords. But one thing any Cups cards can force you to do is take an honest look at yourself and your inner world and see how it affects the outer world and how it's affecting you. From receiving the Nine of Swords in the Eclipses reading and the Eight of Swords, that's a prelude to the eclipse, it's saying, yeah, something is holding you back. And it's not just something, it's emotions. The sea of emotions that are coming out of you that's holding you back. And now you have to dispel this fear and lack of confidence and empower yourself and take your power back. And it says you're doing that because you received the Wheel of Fortune, the wheel that's in constant motion. But here it's fates of fortune for you. You're fortune's favorite now. This 2 new moons with the total solar eclipse is saying, yeah, this is an auspicious time for you, for releases and new beginnings. It's time for you to examine your dreams and where your heart is and take some baby steps forward to progress spiritually and emotionally. I know Leos have had a hard time the last couple years, and it's time to get rid of that. You know, in most renditions of the Lady Justice, she has a blindfold on her over her eyes. And I often wondered, why can't she just pull that off and see the glaring justice in life? She's supposed to represent justice, but has a blindfold on, even though she's holding the scales that are supposed to be balanced. And that's what you're looking for right now, is balance in your life. You have a sword card about words and intellect, and you have a Page of Cups card, which is about emotions and fantasies and dreams and intuition. Can you balance those? This is what these cards are asking. And it's saying with the Wheel of Fortune there, it's giving you the opportunity to do it. And now let's go see what the dice have to say. You receive Libra, Mars, in the 7th house. Now the 7th house is the home of Libra. And this is about balance and partnership. And this is no coincidence. And Mars is the warrior planet. But coincidentally, Mars is in your sign right now. Everything's falling into place. It's time to make some action and make things happen. Now, Mars in Libra has you unsure of what emotions or behavior to display. But overall, with the Libra aspect here, you're kind and compromising and an egalitarian. Hopefully the Libra aspect is coming through. And the Page of Cups influence can be kind and compromising too, or else he can be aggressive and reckless and assertive. And this comes from the Mars and the Eight of Swords influences. And love and sex can be the same way too. It can be accommodating or uncooperative. And your love relationships on all different levels can feel restricted from this, and that's why the Eight of Swords is here. Now, the warrior planet Mars doesn't encourage you to compromise. He wants it his way or no way at all, or the highway. Especially if somebody opposes him. But the Wheel of Fortune is indicating that things are changing. And an obliging attitude is a lot better than a disgruntled attitude if you want to go far in life and if you want to use the good fortune that the Wheel of Fortune is offering. Try to avoid having people taking advantage of your generous nature. Because Leo is very generous. And you usually don't go off the handle when this happens, but if it does this week, you're going to go ballistic. Or not even this week, because this reading is extending all the way to the eclipse on August 21st. Now with this Mars in Libra, it has you thinking before you act. And if procrastination is an option, you might not get anything done this week. And defending why you're procrastinating or why you're all tied up isn't going to make the situation better. If somebody confronts you, the influence of the Page of Cups is going to make you act like, I don't understand what you're saying. And you might get away with it with the presence of the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the warrior aspect of Mars might have you muscling people around, and then you're acting innocent as the day you were born. I didn't do that. Did my hand do that? Did my mouth say that? But then again, you might pick up a sword and take action if circumstances seem unfair. But with the Page of Cups' dreamy nature, you might not really be sure what is unfair. The fates of fortune are on your side if you're willing to stay mellow and bring some cooperation into the party. Libra in the 7th house brings bonding from romantic attachments. And this is reinforced by the presence of the Page of Cups, but you don't want to go overboard with this. Play it cool and just kind of enjoy the ride. Life isn't perfect and neither is love. So take it for what it's worth and just enjoy it. And disappointment could spoil the party. In some ways, you're going to feel restricted, like the Eight of Swords, and in other ways, you're going to feel youthful innocence that the Page of Cups injects into this. And then you're going to have some luck sprinkled all over this with the Wheel of Fortune. How this is going to turn out is really up to you. This could also make a fortunate business partnership or agreements. You're going to look for significant others that are easy to deal with and bring harmony into the shared landscape. But you want to resist your first thoughts of saying, well, what am I going to get out of this? Make sure that you strike a balance between all of this. Home, work, lover. Playful competition makes life interesting, but don't let it escalate into a power struggle, or the Wheel of Fortune can't help you. And that'll eventually put you in trammels like the Eight of Swords. It appears that the Eight of Swords is warning you to hold back your temper. And if you do, you'll have a rewarding partnership this week. And the weeks to come. You don't want to be alone at this time, so you seek compromise. And you're hunting for something in between the fantasy land of the Page of Cups and the incapacitation of the Eight of Swords. But luckily the Wheel of Fortune is showing you the way. So take advantage of the wheel's influence, and I wish you acceptance, peace, and happiness.